Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and a very, very warm welcome to all of you for the session 1. The topic of the session is integrating AI in Islamic finance operations and services. And for that, may I invite the chairman of the session, Mr. Farooq Raza, Group CEO and co-founder, IFAS, and member and the chairman of AAOIFI Governance and Ethics Board, Kingdom of Bahrain. And the panelists may also invite Mr. Ashram Nazim, Chief Executive Officer, EON Digital, Kingdom of Bahrain, Mr. Yahya Alimur Rahman, Global Lead Islamic Finance Advisory Knowledge Solutions, Islamic Development Bank Institute, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Welcome, Brother Yahya. May I also invite Mr. Rustum Vakhitov, Associated International Tax Partner, Crown, Kazakhstan, and Netherlands. Mr. Nasir Al-Awadi, Head of Digital Banking, Bahrain Islamic Bank, Kingdom of Bahrain. And lastly, Mr. Syed Amir Ali, Deputy Chief Executive Officer, Mizan Bank, Islamic Republic of Pakistan. Over to you, Brother Farooq. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Brother Siddiq. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. It gives me an immense pleasure to be here again, in this very auspicious conference, and discussing a very interesting and a very challenging topic as well. So, we all know that currently the world is going through an exponential, outburst, I would say, of technologies, where things are changing very fast. The horizons are, now blurring, and all sorts of technologies, but mainly the artificial intelligence is actually bringing a huge change to the world. Every single individual seems to be affected in one way or other, and every single institution is also exposed to this, very, I would say, disrupting technology that has actually taken the world by storm. An example of this is just this conference. Last year, I remember, we had one session on AI, right? This year, I see that AAOIFI has put the main theme of the conference, the whole conference is actually themed around AI. This is what shows us that what has happened in 12 months, how significant artificial intelligence has become, and how much impact can it have on the industry that we are operating in. So, no need to say, how artificial intelligence is making, things different for everyone in an everyday life. The students are working, are using artificial intelligence for doing their homework, whereas, healthcare professionals, they are using it, for diagnostics, for surgeries, for everything else, and so on and so forth. The software development, and Brother Archer is from software development industry. He knows that, things have changed a lot, and, those days are gone now where, coding and all those things were, big challenges and complicated and costly processes. Now it has actually become, much easier and cheaper to do, the same coding through artificial intelligence and so on and so forth. And of course, through all these changes, finance as a whole, has been actually affected significantly, where we see, the use of artificial intelligence around the world, in the banks, in all sorts of financial institutions, using the, this technology to do different types of things, whether it's optimizing their, operational efficiency, whether it's innovation and product development, whether it's, credit underwriting and, collections and so on and so forth. So it's making a huge change. Now, all this is good and this is very exciting, but our topic today, of this session is actually what does this all mean to Islamic finance, right? We are an industry that is very deeply rooted in the tradition and in the values of Sharia, right? So the ethical And the religious side of the industry is actually the cornerstone. Now, how that cornerstone is actually going to be affected by artificial intelligence, and is it really something in it for us? So I was given this brief, for the session by the conference organizers, by AAOIFI Secretariat, and that brief actually claimed that AI is going to be a transformative force for Islamic finance industry, particularly in the operational aspects of the industry within its different sectors. So this is something that I would like to challenge today, and I think those who know me in the audience, I don't take things on their face value. I always try to have a different view. So I want to challenge this this assumption that there is something in Islamic, in AI for Islamic finance. I want to know what exactly it is. So, it's not something, a hypothetical approach that I want to have, but it's more actually digging out from the inside and saying, what does it mean in practice? Whether there is an opportunity for us to develop, a new business model, a new model of Islamic finance that can actually appeal to, still a lot of Muslim population is still sitting outside Islamic finance. They are sitting on the fence. They are not convinced, or it's not accessible to them, or for whatever reason. Can we bring them into the fold of Islamic finance through the use of artificial intelligence? And can we make it more attractive and plausible also for the non-Muslim, communities as well? How's that going to happen? Or, are we really going to do things that we haven't done so far, in Islamic finance that we all talk about, risk sharing, reward sharing, justice, fairness, all that? Can we enhance all these things, with the help of artificial intelligence? Or are we just going to see artificial intelligence bots, completing the tabarruk transactions? Is this what we are looking for, or is it something else? So I'll try to find the proof of this pudding in the discussion today, for which I have a very esteemed panel here. We have Brother Asher Nazim, from Aeon Digital. Mashallah, he is a geek, very well known in the region, who has led digital transformation and a lot of technology that he has brought to the region. He is also at the forefront of AI. We would like to know from him. Then we have Brother Yahya Alimur Rahman from Islamic Development Bank Institute, the big brother for the Islamic finance industry. So we want to know from him. And then we have some regional representations as well. We have Dr. Rustam Bakhitov from Russia, who will be talking about some practical experience that he has already brought in AI and its application. And then we have two banks, Bahrain Islamic Bank, represented by Brother Nasser Al-Awadi, who will tell us about what his bank is doing in terms of artificial intelligence. And then finally, we have the Deputy CEO of Mizan Bank, Pakistan's largest bank, that's Dr. Syed Amir Ali, who will also talk about his own experience and the AI proposition that his bank has in the market. So with that, we start. And my first question, I'm going to put it to Brother Asher Nazim. So, Brother Asher, Islamic banks today still earn over 80% of their income from short-term, low-risk financing, right? Mainly murabaha. And I'm using the term murabaha as a disguise. While the real economy sectors that we are meant to serve, they remain underfinanced. So if AI can now make risk assessment, portfolio monitoring, and early warning systems 10 times more intelligent and efficient, what stops us as an industry from shifting our balance sheets meaningfully from what we are doing now to longer term, real asset based and SME-driven financing? How soon that can happen in practical form? Yeah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you so much. It's a heavy, loaded question. Let me address it in three terms. What has changed today for the industry that gives us a new lease of life in terms of reinventing ourselves? Two, why is it important? What's at stake? And three, what's stopping us, or what needs to change for us to get there? So in terms of the new developments, game-changing developments, if I have to identify two, One is open banking, and the second is a compute power, right? Open banking, what that does is it allows, for example, in the context of SMEs or individuals, it allows banks to have a 360 view of the cash profile of that institute, of that business. So with a stroke of a button, you can get down to the source of truth and understand in the last 3 years, 5 years, how has this business been getting its cash inflows from what sources, when, how, what are the stress levels and so forth, and how have they been spending? Is it in payroll? Is it in personal expenses? Is it in inventory and so forth? So with a stroke of a button, they get full access to all this data without relying on their financial statements of the SMEs. Now that's a game changer. It's a game changer because it allows banks to assess, price, and manage risk in a very different way than it's been done before, number one. Number two, on top of it, the compute power as a result of, we were in deep analytics, now it's gone to BI, then machine learning, and then AI models out there, which are helping you to understand when that business could go into stress and default and what needs to be done, for example. And really, how much bankable they are, what kind of, price, risk, facility to be given to them. So both open banking and machine learning and AI models have completely changed the game, number one. Number two, why is it not an option anymore for us? By the way, and it has been democratized, and it is down there. It can be implemented very easily at the bank level, especially when it comes to underwriting and credit decisioning engines and so forth. Now, what's at stake? Today, the industry has about $1.5 trillion in assets. Top banks have about $1 trillion in deposits, $900 billion in financing, of which less than 10% is in SME sector. Now, SME sector produces 70–80% of the jobs in any market. Imagine if this moves from 10% to 20% as a result of these new technologies. That's another 180 billion USD that comes into the SME financing space. Take it to 50%, and that is roughly around 470–500 billion USD. Massive, massive, right? So really, the problem is not liquidity, it's not cash, it's not capital, right? So, and it has an impact. It has an impact. This amount of transition from 10 to 20% or to 50%, which is now doable, will have an impact in terms of job creation, 5 to 6 million jobs, and another 100 billion annual addition to the GDPs, right? So, and not just that, also to the shareholders of banks, that's 2 to 3 billion USD, or a 2 to 3% uplift in shareholder value that you're talking about, on the ROE you're talking about. So what's at stake is massive. What needs to be done? I'll leave a couple of thoughts. One is, we as a banking industry are still busy in automation and a little bit of digitization. Number two, it all comes down to us all, right? Leadership. At the board level, I would argue that you need people, at least strong representation, who can read the AI models, the data dashboards, who can challenge every action, what real economic impact it has on the economy, right? We need board members who can read data models as fluently as they can read balance sheet, right? And we need to look inside ourselves that, if we are the right candidate. Similarly, at the management level, what we need is the coders, the designers, the behavioral economists to sit beside the Sharia scholars and the risk officers and not in silos, because you're talking about a new business model that's in the making. So tomorrow's conversation is not going to be about how big a branch network I've got. It'll be about how smart is my decision engine. I'll stop there.
Thank you, Brother Asher. Now, what you said, I think, is very good and it's clear. But there are two things emerging from here. If you allow me, I want to take this discussion a little bit further. So first thing is that you are saying that the people sitting in the board and in the senior management, they shall be able to read the data models as good as they are with the balance sheets, right? So what is actually that you are proposing here? So do you want the board members to be replaced, which is a very, I think, sensitive matter, or are you suggesting that the board members need to equip themselves with the knowledge and with the skills that are required in order to start reading those models?
No, 100%, and I remember about 10, 15 years back, many of the banks in the West, for example, they added a board member who understood how, for example, the likes of, Google's and, Apple experience and all that stuff was working at the execution level. So they added that expertise to the board. And so here, what you're looking is not for more experience, but people with more curiosity.
Okay, thank you. The second point is that you have been in this digital space for a long time. We have seen in the industry that despite all the efforts, the Islamic financial institutions, like many other conventional institutions, are also still struggling with digital transformation. And now we see the tsunami of artificial intelligence, which has actually taken the industry, I think, much faster than digital. So the institutions that are not fully stable with the digital side, how are they going to embrace artificial intelligence in a constructive way?
Excellent point, and surprisingly, the answer is super simple. So today, for example, we work with a Silicon Valley company called Encota. Now, what Encota has done is it has brought a new technology that allows you to work with messy, broken, siloed data. You are no longer waiting for spending millions in data warehouse and then data lake so that the source of truth first translates into warehouse lake and then into BI, ML, and AI models. They are working with messy data, and we are building AI models on top of that to help customers, to help banks say, I'll give you a simple example. In Saudi, we are working right now, and one Saudi bank was growing its, for example, a POS finance portfolio. It had to grow from X to Y. And at the current rate, it was growing by 30, 40% only. And we went in there, and we were able to, again, look at their data models, 150,000 leads coming in. They used to apply Microsoft Excel, VLOOK, narrow it down to 85,000, take 5,000, and then distribute to their branches, direct call centers, and direct sales force, right? And the conversion rate was what? 5 to 7%. Now imagine, you've done all the hard work to bring the customer to your branches, to your apps, and the conversion rate is less than 10%. International average is 20 to 30%. What can you do to change that? And again, looking at, forget AI, I'm talking about even machine learning models, right? Looking at that, we were able to overlay 30, 40, 45 variables, and we were able to comment that, for example, if there's a business being run by a lady in her 40s and the business size is this much and in this particular sector, then the probability of default is way lower than exactly the same business being done, for example, in an eastern province by a different demographic person and so forth. And therefore, the bank was able to look at that 85,000 leads and short it down to 5,000 leads with a conversion rate of about 30%. Now think about it, sales activation. Same goes for customer retention. Many of the time banks look at their credit card portfolio. Prepayment is a huge risk. I'm talking about simple examples. Prepayment is a big risk. Yeah? The other bank calls you, you shift your balance. Immediately the call comes to you, please stay with us, here's the counter offer, too late. Now you have those behavioral patterns, and you can predict this 3 months, 6 months ahead of time. Same goes for early warning system. You do not have to wait for the bad loans to happen. If, for example, you're giving financing against POS, right? POS finance, right? Cash flow lending, then you don't have to wait till month end to understand if he will be able to pay me 2 cents to every dollar that he has, or has the sales dropped. And if the sales has dropped, then your contract can allow for a higher deduction, for example, 5 cents to a dollar, for example, right? I mean, etc. So again, the default risk, the origination process and cost, there's a dramatic shift that's come our way, and we don't have to wait to spend millions of dollars in 3 years to correct our data system before we start on this. So we can leave, again, I go back, experimental mindset is important, right? And banks who are able to go that direction, win fast, fail fast, I think we'll see them leapfrog.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Asher. Yahya, Islamic Development Bank has been involved in the development of Islamic finance for more than 50 years now. So last year we celebrated your 50th anniversary. What role do you see AI playing in facilitating this role, and what are the risks associated to that activity?
Thank you, Brother Farooq. And First of all, it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm glad, as you mentioned in your opening remarks, that AI from one session has become now the theme of the conference, so it is ubiquitous. Now, every time you open any app, there is someone trying to either draft something for you or summarize something for you, or so even as a user, you see that AI is trying to get in touch with you. Now, as the Islamic Development Bank, we have a slightly unique mandate amongst the MDBs in that Islamic finance is one of our key pillars. And recently, the Islamic Development Bank, as part of its 10-year strategy framework, has included AI as part of its own operational efficiency and a lot of the things that are being mentioned, in terms of the benefits. And we've been hearing this from all the speakers, from the keynote speeches, from compliance, from regulation, from Sharia, from audit, from customization, personalization of products in terms of outreach, inclusion, etc. And that is all good. But for us, as a development institution and enabler of the Islamic finance industry, we feel that even Islamic finance is a means to an end. And so should AI be. It should be a means to an end. And we have always been suggesting that technology is a key enabler to leapfrog. I think this is what Brother Ashraf was saying, is that you don't really have to go through the same curve. In fact, you can jump the curve and skip some of the things that the previous people had to do based on the capabilities that technology gives to you. However, what is important is that any technology or any tool, just like a knife can be used for a gourmet dinner, it can equally be used to stab someone. So I think we have to be mindful and careful, and this is where the safeguards of the industry and the regulators and the global architecture for Islamic finance, and this is where the role of the Islamic infrastructure institutions like IOFI and IFS come into play, to ensure that regulations and safeguards are in place so that there are the winners of the technology and there are the losers of the technology. So while some people can maximize the profit and the benefit from this, there could be people that could be left behind or who could suffer at the end of it. So it's very important, one, to invest both on the regulatory side, also in building the capacity of the right people, because usually the people that are best placed to benefit from the technology don't necessarily are the people that you want in society, that they need to be uplifted. So while there is a huge potential for this technology to democratize financial services, to be more inclusive, there's also risks that are associated with it. So it's important, one, in terms of that the tool is the safeguards are put in place. Secondly, there is this issue of obsolescence. There's a huge part of the population that will become redundant, and we see that obviously. I see that even in the IDB, there were people who used to draft memos, who used to take minutes, who used to archive things, and now these are happening in real time, and you don't know what to do with these people. And it's not easy to upskill some of that category or that generation of people. So this is another risk. So we have to be mindful that that is taken care of as well. Lastly, one of the issues which I don't hear so much about is the immense amount of energy that is required to power AI, both in terms of resources, in terms of water, in terms of electricity. I was reading it's enormous and it's growing at a massive scale. So what does that have in terms of our other concerns, in terms of energy security, in terms of the environment? So I think this is very important that from a developmental point of view, while there is enormous benefits and there's a potential for enormous benefits as has been explained and I'm sure will be explained, we need to be mindful to protect those who are vulnerable and ensure that the proper safeguards are in place.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I think what you said is very important, but a very interesting point that you brought out, right at the end was actually the effect on climate change. This is also something that shall not be ignored at all, and it often gets overlooked because everybody is so excited with what AI can do, but what we ignore is what AI can do also on the negative side. Thank you so much. So we move on to Dr. Rustam Vakhitov. Dr. Rustam, I think you have a presentation in which you are going to show us some of the AI solutions that have been actually applied to Islamic financial institutions in Russia and elsewhere.
Thank you very much. Brother Farooq. I would like to thank AAOIFI for organizing another wonderful event, really amazing source of information and inspiration. And I would like to speak about a few ideas of further development of cooperation in respect of Islamic finance, knowledge enhancement and collaboration. I'm Rustam Vakitov. I'm representing here two organizations. I'm just curious, to which direction I need to point to scroll the slides? Maybe you can help me. Maybe you can just scroll down to the next slide. Representing Pro Kazakhstan, this is consultancy organization, and Academia BEPS, this is educational establishment. On the one hand, the topic of AI is very sophisticated. On the other, it is very simple, and I will try to give the example by what we can do by combining the knowledge. This conference hall is filled with top excellent experts, thinkers, specialists, and if we decide to do research, for example, what to do with people being displaced by artificial intelligence, we can send questionnaire, we can collect answers, we can process them, make analysis, database, etc. And it would take a couple of weeks maybe, and we will arrive to a particular outcome. On the other hand, we can just ask everyone to make voice recording, to send it to, let's say, WhatsApp group. And this is not really planned, but I was just hearing what our colleagues were saying and thought, okay, why don't we use this as an experiment? And I will show the QR code to which you can send this voice message. And tomorrow I promise to deliver a report on combining all this knowledge. So this is one of the examples how these technologies can be employed. I will not repeat what my colleagues told about marketing, about enhancement, about inclusion. I was very positively surprised when our colleague from Palestine, Dr. Yahya, talked about opportunities, and I'm sitting in Amsterdam, was thinking around the same lines. So this is truly international and truly inspiring what we can do with these technologies. I will quickly go through particular projects without going the functions. Which technologies are being used in Islamic finance banks, in regular banks, and can be used in Islamic banks. BrainSoft, for example. This is credit scoring, artificial intelligence solutions developed in Kazakhstan. In Sifir, this is a modern Dutch Islamic bank, Neon Bank, appeared very, very recently, and we're very happy living in the Netherlands, having Islamic bank finally. There is a Tatarstani solution, Wahya, which aimed at protection of customers of financial institutions. No Roots and Tuzuk, these are platforms for analysis of contracts which can be supplemented with Sharia compliant solutions. Technoscore, this is a Russian solution also aimed at credit scoring, also very efficient. IT Park, I placed there, this is Uzbekistani unit which helps to develop and promote various projects, and they have amazing conditions for doing business there. After hearing presentation of Mr. Midhat Ravkatovich Shagiahmetov from Tatarstan, I should add IT Park on this presentation, maybe a late edition of this. And there are many solutions which can be employed at present. 2 years ago, I was standing right here and indicating the database of Islamic finance projects, which can be familiarized, which can be accessed through particular database, and moving along the same direction. I proposing to do the next step and do the competition of various projects. This is the slide which was already mentioned by some of the panelists about the challenge. So we speak about these wonderful opportunities, how AI can help us, but it will replace people. Many people will be made redundant. This is the truth. We cannot really avoid this. And this is actually what I'm calling you, just to share your thought, how these people can be re-educated, how these people can be retrained, what can be done about this. And this is spontaneous idea, but this is actually the benefit of this. So these instruments, they are so powerful that any idea can come into true, and I will be prepared to share results of this research tomorrow. So I will process these responses very quickly. The idea, what I was calling is AI battle. This is basically a competition, continuation, the idea which was proclaiming before. Let's make Islamic finance projects, let's make tax, legal AI solutions accessible, let's make them known to each other, let's exchange our combined knowledge. And let's help both these projects and let's help ourselves to know more about these opportunities. The idea of AI battle is to make competition of particular solutions against large language models. So it will be happening in the end of November. I will make more announcement. This is the WhatsApp channel where I will be sharing information. And we can use this WhatsApp channel for this particular idea, which I just pronounced. Just send voicemail, and if you would not like to share it with everyone, you can send it to me personally. You can find me in this group. So, and I will make a research out of this. It will be very interesting how we can use this technology to solve basically social problems and social challenges. So thank you very much. That was the end of my presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Rustam, and I wish you all the best with this new initiative. Hopefully, inshallah, it will add real value to the industry. And thank you for bringing up also the social impact of AI. And this is also something. And I think the three Islamic values that you mentioned, I think they are extremely important and they need to be upheld. So this is a challenge for us as the industry practitioners, that how do we capitalize on AI, but still, we maintain and we uphold, the values that are very, very dear to us, and, we find a balance between both of them. Let's move on to Brother Nasser Al-Awadi. If you, can please share with us, that what, BISB, digital strategy has, how it has gone. And what goals have you set for yourself for the next 2 years when it comes to the AI? Is there something that puts AI at the forefront of your digital strategy, and what are you expecting to happen in the next 18 to 24 months?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So thank you for hosting us today. Now, obviously, in terms of BISB's digital strategy, if you'd asked me this question a few years ago, I would tell you we explore, we experiment, we try to do AI initiatives. However, in the past 2 years, I think for myself and maybe even other banks in the country as well, AI has taken a big chunk of the digital strategy. So for us, in BISB, it's a pivotal pillar. It's one of the key pillars amongst others in terms of automation, data maturity, as well as our entire digital transformation strategy. Now, our digital or our AI specific strategy revolves around three key takeaways, which is enablement of the data maturity structure in the bank. So obviously, this is a challenge all banks face, where I think Brother Ash'ar also mentioned earlier, the data is unstructured, it's a lot of systems on systems, a lot of legacy is there. So that enablement force is actually a key driver for us to be able to move in the speed that we want to move when it comes to AI. And then the second pillar of it is AI for internal employees. So how can we use AI to be able to grow the level of value that each employee can give in the bank, whether it comes to internal activities, whether it comes to sales, automation, distribution, service, and all customer-facing channels as well. And then the third pillar, I think, which is something we are all excited to see, which is AI for customers. How can we embed the technologies, use cases, the ideas that we have to come into the hands of our customers? Now that is, I think, where it will show the most and we will get the most value of. Now, when we talk about it this way, obviously it's not easy, especially when it comes to banking, because AI needs to come not just as a concept or as an idea. You actually need to empower the entire workforce that you have to be able to think differently. Because if we continue to think that AI is, for example, will cut costs here or will improve efficiencies here without doing any material effort, then I don't think we'll move at the pace that we want to move in. So we try to embed it as part of our entire workforce strategy, from customer service even to the delivery stream that we have in the bank. So for example, personally speaking, we have embedded AI into the business analyst role, the cross-functional teams role, the development role, the QA role, as well as the entire delivery cycle, which actually has helped us reduce turnaround time for delivery of digital features by 66%. And that's comparing with the last 2 years. And we're still, I think, in early stages because it's all on best effort basis. What tools pop up today? What initiatives do the employees actually take upon themselves to explore? Because we've seen a super user on AI and we've seen a normal. Everyone uses ChatGPT. If you ask it a basic question, you'll get a basic answer. But I've personally seen some users, not myself, but I've seen some superstars actually know how to use it, and I'm shocked by the results. And I think that level of knowledge is where we aim to achieve as a bank, because that cascades across the entire organization, and that's what we are hoping to embed as part of our DNA and BISP.
Thank you, Brother Nasser. Good to know that your bank is effectively taking measures to implement an AI strategy, and we hope, inshallah, to see excellent results from there. Now I've got Dr. Syed Amir Ali, the Deputy CEO of Pakistan's largest Islamic bank, and also one of the top 5 banks, by balance sheet as well. Mizan Bank, Brother Amir, has led all, the way of Islamic banking in Pakistan. So I would like to know that in your view, how can AI be used in order to support Sharia compliant financial product development, which is always, a challenge for the institutions, and what framework or methodology would enable machine learning models to ensure contextual accuracy while maintaining Sharia authenticity?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you so much, Lo. So firstly, I like to touch upon that the intellectual DNA of AI is rooted in algebra. And this is a subject pioneered by a Muslim scientist, Al-Khwarizmi, in 9th century. So I would say that AI is actually our heritage. It's not an import into Islamic finance or Islam. Now moving on, if it is our heritage, we should build on it. And there's some practical work which Mizan Bank has done, so I will go piece by piece, and there are some projects on which we are working right now. So one use case which is live right now on Mizan Bank's website is, we call it Mizan GPT. And it is a LLM based chatbot. And when you go in and interact with that chatbot, for customers, you can ask questions about the Sharia compliant products which Mizan Bank is offering, and it will explain what the features of this product are and how it is halal. So it is going to build trust among the customers that whatever products which are available on Mizan Bank's counter, what is the Sharia compliance behind it, what are the Sharia pronouncements on which it is based on. So this is a live use case at this point in time. The second thing which we are working on, we believe that AI is actually an intelligent assistant for our Sharia compliance team and for our Sharia boards and for Islamic banking professionals. So we don't feel at this point in time that AI is going to replace the Sharia boards or the Sharia experts or the Islamic banking professionals, but it will facilitate them. It will accelerate the pace at which they are going to work. So one model or use case on which we are working on that we have feeded into our piece of the LLM model which we are using. All the fatwas, all IOFI standards, all IFSB standards, and of course it has access to World Wide Web also. And then on the basis of that, what it is doing, that although that work is like an unsupervised learning model, and then on the basis of that, when we ask questions, we give relevant prompts which are given by the experts. So it helps in tailoring Sharia compliant structures, in developing Sharia compliant products on the basis of all this information which is available into this model. Then moving on, what we are trying to do, and this is something with which use case we are working on, but it is still under development, is the next phase is actually when we look at certain product which is being used in one jurisdiction and we try to bring that product into another jurisdiction, there is a slight difference of opinion with reference to the Hanafi scholars or the Shafi'i scholars or the Maliki scholars, and sometimes the scholars in one particular geography are not fully aware of the pronouncement in other fiqh. So what the AI can help going forward is that it can find out all relevant references out of the Sharia book or the fiqh books, and then it can identify and also help in harmonizing and standardizing the products and the Sharia structure across the globe. So I think there are few use cases, some of them are live, some are under development, but I think if we believe AI as a intelligence assistant, it is truly helpful for Islamic finance to build on our heritage.
Thank you, Dr. Amir. A quick question. Do you envisage that, not now, but maybe in a year or 2 years' time, your bank will be able to create a completely new product by the click of a button? Is that going to happen, or is it too much of an ask right now?
No, I think frankly it is fairly possible, because even at this point in time, what the Sharia experts are doing, they are using their knowledge drawn from different standards and fatwas, and on the basis of that, they are synthesizing those and are producing results. So this is what artificial intelligence does. In deep learning models, it exactly works like that. So it synthesizes data, uses large data sets, and then it uses all that knowledge to behave like a normal human being, like in the NLP models. And it behaves like a normal human being and suggests you something. But you can also build reinforcement model around it, whereby there are experts who are reviewing the products developed by it, giving feedback back to the model, and the model improves itself. So how you use or exploit or explore the capability of AI, it will actually be able to very easily do this in, I would say, in an years or a time for that AI is developing products and structures for Islamic finance.
All right, thank you very much. Come back to our brother Ashar. AI now finally lets us to trace where the money goes, right? Who benefits and what asset is created and how value circulates. So could this be the first time ever that Islamic finance proves its relevance in measurable real economy terms? Now this is a very sensitive question, and I think it's a big worry that a lot of people have, but you have only 2 minutes to give us the answer.
It's a massive opportunity. For decades, as an industry, we've been claiming that there is a great connect between Islamic finance and the real economy. We've not always been able to prove it. But today, using alternative data, and when I say alternative data, let's synthesize that further, things like POS flows, VAT payments, payroll cycles, logistics. So all that data you're able to capture, right, and put it to use. And therefore, for example, when a bank gives an istisna financing, you're able to understand when the raw material gets delivered. You're able to understand who gets paid. You are able to understand what assets are produced. And therefore, if you are able to convey this outcome of the financing to the public, to your investors, right, to your other stakeholders, that instills confidence and trust. Similarly, if you are funding a factory, for example, you understand because of all these alternative data sources, which tells you, again, how the payroll is moving, how the VAT is moving, how the logistics is moving, you are able to understand if the output of that factory has gone up by 20%, for example. Right? And if the industry is able to embed conveying these outcomes to their stakeholders, that will take credibility to the very next level. Right? Now, having said that, let's be real as well. The ground reality is, for the industry, not just Islamic finance, conventional and Islamic finance, right now, the markets are a graveyard of POCs. Every bank is doing a lot of POCs. How many have gone into production grade is a question mark, right? It's not going to be easy. And therefore, the mindset needs to change. It has to be experimental approach, risk-managed experimental, and something that delivers results. So for example, I would love to see board minutes where the board is asking the management that in the next 24 months, help me understand how can I move my balance sheet on a risk-weighted basis, right? I mean, how can I move my balance sheet 20% to the SME segment, but without disturbing my cost-income ratio? In fact, it should improve. My risk-adjusted ROE should go up 2 to 3%, and it should create an impact in terms of GDP and employment creation. Now, this does not require an analog approach anymore. So with a click of a button, you're able to do this. So again, the mindset at the top and execution at the ground level, both are possible today. It's not going to be easy. It has to be experimental. It has to start now.
Thank you. Is there any AI that changes the mindset?
Right. Good question. I'll have to think. You've stumped me.
Okay, we can come back to that one. All right. Okay. Brother Yahya, I believe that Islamic Development Bank has actually taken quite a few initiatives recently about AI.
Yes.
So would you like to share some with the audience, what you have been doing, what you are up to, and what shall we expect to see in the coming future?
Sure. As I said previously that, we have multiple roles. One is as an enabler of the industry, so we're supporting the Islamic infrastructure institutions. But even within house, we have initiated, for example, in this year's annual meeting, we had the first AI hackathon on, financial accounting standards to see how, these can be applied and how financial institutions can implement the AAOIFI financial standards. So there was an hackathon that was organized in Algeria. Internally, within the IDB's wealth of knowledge that we have, we are working on an AI assistant which can curate data and information within the internal. So this is not an open source, but within the data sets of IDB itself to extract information that the IDB can use for its own operations and for implementation. Then we have a series of flagship projects, and all of them have a technology and AI-related implement. I know you're involved in some of them. There is not enough time to go into the details. Yeah. We have the Awqaf-free zone, the counter-trade project, the digital post project. Yeah. One very important project, we also have a smart stabilization system, which again uses an AI to create stability in financial markets, and it's currently in a testing phase. And it's based on one of the patents that the institute had actually patented earlier. But one very important flagship project that I would like to highlight, and we're working with an Islamic infrastructure institution on that, is to curate all the laws and regulations that are there on Islamic finance industry and create a database, and that have a layer of AI that would enable to extract the best practices and create sets of guidelines, because we get requests from numerous new jurisdictions that are interested in implementing Islamic finance. And while countries would like to learn from others, they are a bit sensitive due to sovereignty concerns just to copy and paste and replicate that. Yeah. Nonetheless, they would like to learn. Now, AI enables the extraction of that and customization of that, so that you learn from the best practices, but you have something that is unique to you. So this is another project that we are currently working on with an Islamic infrastructure institution, and it's kind of in the works, and inshallah it will be announced very soon.
Thank you.
This
This is very exciting, and I think this is something, inshallah, when it comes, in action, I'm sure they will create, inshallah, a lot of value for the member countries.
Absolutely.
So, Dr. Rustam, which AI solutions can be applied for the purposes of controlling tax or legal matters in Islamic banking transactions or for checking Sharia compliance? So please keep your answer limited to two minutes. Yes,
well, I mentioned a couple of the solutions. There are many. This is just to name a few. Particular, I mentioned No-Roots, which is a Russian-developed product with replaceable models, so it's possible to add model on Sharia compliance, and it will do some preliminary work. It's important to mention that none of these solutions is perfect to replace Sharia scholars. Yeah? This is just a preliminary work which we can outsource to paralegals, to junior employees, but final solutions should be done by senior experts. There is a Tuzuk, another solution developed in Uzbekistan, also for contract analysis, also for controlling compliance with particular standards, also adjustable to include Sharia standards, processed and structured in a particular way, and it will be very helpful to do this basic assistant work to facilitate Sharia scholars' judgments.
Thank you very much. Brother Nasser, we go back again to BISB, and I feel sorry that I'm putting you under the spotlight, but the general understanding of AI is that this is a cost efficiency tool, right? So we can probably get things done faster, we can have less people and so on and so forth. Does your bank see this as a cost efficiency tool, or do you see it really as a growth tool that helps with innovation and that actually helps grow your business, your sustainability, your profitability, and also contributing towards Maqasid al-Sharia? Is this something that is on the horizon, and how do you translate that into the everyday activity of the bank? Thank you.
So when you ask someone working in a bank, is it about cost? They always say yes. It's about cost cutting. Everything we do is about cost cutting. But personally speaking, for BISB specifically, I think if you think of AI as a cost cutting tool, then you are in the wrong mindset, because the way you can embrace AI and the way we can embed it into the vision or what we want to see or what the experience we want to deliver, then you need to think of the mindset of what value will AI add rather than what cost I can replace. Now, with that said, obviously, there are low-hanging fruit, cost-saving that comes with AI for sure. We've seen that with some of our implementations as well. For example, we've embedded AI into a portion of our digital onboarding, and it has significantly improved our cost by default from day one. But it also, that wasn't the main reason of us adding it. The main reason was to improve the experience and reduce the turnaround time for our customers. So I think I would lean in more to the value-driving position. Even when you see, for example, Western companies laying people off and linking it to AI, it's not really AI. This is a thing that happens in cycles without AI as well. The thing is, new opportunities will come up for people who are able to leverage AI to its maximum potential. And I think that will impact our banking sector specifically. Islamic banks will be able to introduce much better AI capabilities with more ethical standards and more Sharia compliance, I believe. And I think also Brother Ash'ar or the gentleman touched upon it, whereby with that cost-cutting mindset, you cannot experiment and you cannot give room for making mistakes and being able to deliver what we want to achieve as a digital strategy. So I think that's the direction we are headed into at this point in time.
Thank you so much, and wish BISB all the best. Brother Amir, last question of the session to you for no longer than 2 minutes, please. How can artificial intelligence integrated into digital financing systems to autonomously ensure and enhance compliance with Sharia principles in transactions, for example, monitoring through geotagging and so on and so forth. So this is about, we talk about real economy, so how actually that contributes to the real economy, providing, SME financing and so on.
So thank you so much. So first response was about product development. The second is about ensuring compliance of that Sharia product or Sharia structure. And AI can be very useful. Earlier, you all remember we used to have OCR. When they are documents, you scan them, we call it optical character recognition. Now it's ICR. So the character recognition is intelligent. So when you scan a document received from a client for a financing transaction, you scan it, there is an intelligence scanning. And then we have heard about RPAs, they were robotic process automation only to automate repetitive tasks, but now they are AI-based RPAs. And interestingly, at Mizan Bank, we are using both these tools, the AI-enabled RPAs and ICR. And when in our credit administration department, we receive documents, even physical documents, we scan them. And once they are scanned, the matching of goods declaration with invoices is done by AI and RPAs. And they are archived and their compliance is ensured. They are much faster, they are much accurate. And they only generate exception reports where there's an exception. So human involvement is needed to handle the exception only rather than the entire end-to-end process. Then in case of certain transactions like istasna, we have to take deliveries. So earlier we had a challenge that when we go in, we used to take pictures for deliveries, but it was not possible to ensure whether a particular RM has visited that place or not. So we have, the app is under testing, so we have developed an app whereby when an RM goes or a supervisor goes to a location, take a picture, it geotags. And that coordinates are feeded into the system, which goes in and matches that with the client location, whether this picture is taken at the warehouse which is defined in the contract as a client warehouse or not. So this is also AI enabled. Now as we move to the smart contracts, because the entire world is moving, so there will be no paperwork. So there will be no need for probably ICR. The contracts will be smart. In these smart contracts, these AI tools can scan those to detect the terms like interest, the term like late payment charges or liquidated damages, and we can just simply, these AI tools can detect those and highlight those that we have to remove these from the contract to ensure Sharia compliance. Plus, since the contracts will be smart, they are already backed by blockchain, so all these evidences and footprints will be stored into the system also. I think so the level of ensuring compliance, Sharia compliance using AI models will be much higher, will be much faster, and the journey has already started, at least in Mizan Bank.
Thank you very much. So I think I am right in assuming that we will see, inshallah, more of SME financing going forward in the future. So as Brother Ashir was saying, that instead of 5% or whatever, probably 30–40%.
Let me share one more use case at Mizan Bank. So my thesis is also in SME financing using Islamic digital banking ecosystem. And we started supply chain based SME financing in Mizan in 2015. Earlier it was all manual. So it used to take 2 to 3 days after credit approval to make a disbursement in supply chain finance. Now we have collaborated with a fintech. The end-to-end system is digital and intelligent, and it takes 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds to do a new disbursement. To do a settlement, it takes 3 seconds to do a settlement. And in that new system, we have to date disbursed 50 billion Pak rupees. And we have done over 62,000 transactions for SME financing using the digital enabled supply chain finance platform.
Thank you.
That's
this
awesome.
is great.
Brother Farooq,
So
we have 5 minutes to
yes. So we have completed the discussion, the panel discussion. Now I will open the floor for the audience questions. We can take a couple of questions. Sheikh Arbuna was the first one to raise his hand. So if we can please take a mic to him. Tafadhal ya Sheikh. There's no mic. Yeah, just keep it brief, please. Thank you.
The first one is like our brother, he talks about replacing or bringing up an AI expert into the board. That means the same thing might apply to the Sharia board. That means if you go this direction, that means we are going to bring more expert into the Sharia board, crypto asset, and then AI, and then so many things, we will bring it to the Sharia board. This is one question, whether this is practical or not. The second question is for our brother from Pakistan. I totally agree that from compliance point of view, AI can play a greater role because it's just gathering the information of the existing fatwas and then make comparison and then give you compliant or not existing fatwa. But the issue is about the developing a product. Usually the Sharia scholars developing a product is not based on existing fatwa, it's based on the resources of classical fiqh. Hanafi books, the only thing we can do is to get these Hanafi books within the AI system. So if you are looking for a product development within the Hanafi school, you have to have all the books of the Hanafi so that it goes through it and bring you an information only. It cannot even develop a product. It has to bring you information. Based on that information, from this angle, I agree with you that it's almost like assistant. But in order to be like a core principle replacing a human being, which is the main purpose of AI is to replace a human being. So where we are, should we replace a human being or should it be an assistant? But from product development perspective, I think it will be very difficult.
Thank you, Yashir. Yeah, Brother Ashar.
Yeah, very briefly, the first question, absolutely, there's no two thoughts on it. The skill mix absolutely need to change. The operating model absolutely need to change. There has to be a much more better integration of these different skill set. I would say it's a great reset that we are seeing and a great opportunity for us to leapfrog as an industry. And the risk is if that reinventing of our skill base is not pinching us, then I have no qualms in saying that 70% of the skill set in this room today will be completely irrelevant in 24, 36 months' time unless we reinvent and embed these new capabilities which are coming.
Thank you, Brother Ashar. Yes, next question. Please take the mic to Brother Najib.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much for a very insightful conversation. A couple of questions. The first question about maybe an ethical / Sharia consideration. I recently read an article on the Forbes saying AI, is it AI intellectual property, copyright, or copy wrong? The question is for the board is how do you see the protection of rights, especially in training data? Maybe not much relevant to like a banking product, but generally speaking, big companies we have seen some issues going to courts in terms of not protecting the property rights when training data, and how these people who have spent time into produce something for commercial reasons losing this ability to benefit from it. And the ethical other question or consideration is probably more of the next generation. There was a recent study by MIT which showed they have done like a study between two groups of students. One of them have used AI for an intensive long time and the others haven't used it. And there was a significant reduction in brain activity. And probably one of my conversation with one of our professors back in the university, he said universities used to produce scholars. Now they are producing researchers. Only Allah knows what they will start producing when we have generation working only with AI. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody of the panel wants to answer these two questions? Please keep it brief because we have to close.
So I think because your questions are not specific to Islamic finance, they are generic. So this is all skepticism about AI. AI started in 1956 in Dormoth Conference. And AI became powerful once we have access to more and more data post World Wide Web, which came in like 1991. And then these, and if you just see, Chat GPT was launched in November 2022. Hardly, I would say, less than 3 years ago. So I think this is all developing. One thing I'm very clear, in future, information will be free. Today, we get impressed with people who have more information. We go to a lawyer only to get some information rather than a solution. We go to sometimes a doctor or some other expert who has more information. With AI models, it will be all that information which is available and which is freely available, not copyrighted. I think that information will be free. And as far as your concept of having protecting copyright is concerned, yes, there are laws around it. The IP laws are very strong, but still if you go to the developing economies in the world, all those books which are written in the West, you can get all pirated copies of that. So this is a challenge which was there before AI and it will remain there after AI. So it is not a new challenge that if I have produced a original piece of knowledge which is copyrighted in US but it is pirated in say Pakistan or say in Afghanistan or Bangladesh, it was pirated before AI and it can continue to happen if that information is illegally loaded into World Wide Web, then AI model will go in and access those.
May I also comment?
Thank you.
I would give a very brief comment. In respect of copyrights, I'm not really a copyright lawyer, but as a person with general legal education, everything what is free can be used, and there is so much information out there, not necessarily in protected publications, but in chat forums, in Reddit, everywhere on internet. And with proper selection mechanisms, it's possible to find more useful information in open data sources, even in recording of this AAOIFI conference, which will be placed on YouTube and which is allowed to use. So with modern data processing technologies, it is possible to extract a lot of valuable data without violating any copyrights. And I'm pretty much sure this is the direction, and I support the brother who told, who gave previous comment. This will be direction in which this technology will develop.
Thank you, Brother Rustam. I've been given, okay, we will take just one more question. Take the mic to the Sheikh, please. This is the last one. Sorry, we have to cut it off. There.
Can I ask my question in Arabic?
Yes,
Yes.
Brother Nasser will help us
Okay.
understand. Yes.
حقيقة اليوم اللي بنحكى عنه في الذكاء الصناعي، هل تقبل قواعد الشريعة إنه الذكاء الصناعي ينشئ عقد، ينشئ تصرف؟ وهذه مسألة ليست في الشريعة فقط إشكالية، بل حتى في المدارس القانونية هم بيحكوا شيء وشخص. مش مقبول في كل المدارس التشريعية إنه الشيء ينشئ تصرف. طيب، فكر البرلمان الأوروبي إنه يعطي الريبورت شخصية قانونية لأنه المصلحة تقتضي إنه عقوده تكون صحيحة. لكن التفكير في الشخصية القانونية للريبورت تقريباً الآن على المستوى العالمي سقط، لأنه الشخصية القانونية في شخصية معنوية بس إلها أهم شغلة فيه إلها مصلحة ذاتية تختلف عن مصلحة مديرها، والشخصية المعنوية بقودها شخص طبيعي. طب الريبورت فيه له مصلحة ذاتية؟ طب كيف بدي أقبل إنه ينشئ تصرف؟ أنا بقبل إنه ينقل إرادتي، بقبل إنه ينفذ عقد، ولذلك الفرنسيين بيسموه عقد ذات التنفيذ، بس إرادة الإنسان هي المسؤولة. لكن اليوم التفكير اللي يطرح، وهل في الشريعة بدنا نطرحه، هل تقبل الشريعة للشيء إنه ينشئ تصرف؟ وكيف بده يكون طرف في دعوة؟ هل تقبل الشريعة إني أرفع دعوة على حجر على هذا؟ في القانون في مسؤولية حارس الشيء، حارس البناء، ماشي؟ فكيف بده يكون الريبورت شيء ينشئ تصرفات وهو مش مقبول في كل المدارس القانونية، وكيف بده يكون طرف في الدعوة إذا أخطأ؟ شكرا.
شكرا يا شيخ. Yes, Brother Nasir, please.
I think I'm also شلون؟ صح. Can you guys hear me?
No.
Am I clear to the audience or?
No, you have to speak a bit louder.
Okay, so the gentleman was asking a question. I think maybe I'm not the right person to address because it's more of a moral and Sharia related question about the ethics behind AI taking decisioning and logic and acting on itself, which is a concept similar to AGI, if you've read about it, which is how can we believe or trust a robot or a system or an intelligence that takes decision and thought and ideation in and of itself. So I think that's the concern the gentleman has, but I don't think I am the maybe most fit person to address that question. It's more of a ethical and Sharia scholar related question.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much for the translation. You know, the brother, he himself is a Sharia scholar, and mashallah, a great Sharia scholar. And I think he has actually, you know, I don't take this as a question, it's more of a concern that he has expressed for the right reasons. And this is what we see. A lot of people, including myself, by the way, is very concerned that when it comes to, you know, the decisions, you know, related to Sharia, based on Sharia, then, you know, giving everything to the AI and letting it make, you know, the decisions for you is a very, very risky business. So it may happen at some point, but this is not ideal, and this is not what we are talking about as well. I think Sheikh Arbuno also mentioned almost you know, similar type of concern. You know, we are not, I think AI is here. You know, we have to understand and we have to accept and admit and embrace this fact that it's here, and we have to face it. You know, so even if we refuse, it's still going to hurt us, right? So instead of you know, shying away from it, let's embrace it and let's see how we can use it for our benefit. And of course, how we can create a balance between you know, the right things and the you know, the potential risks, and how do we ensure, you know, how do we put the safeguards in to make sure that we do not get ourselves exposed to these type of risks that, you know, people are rightly concerned of. But this is an ongoing process. I think we are on a journey, and this journey will continue, and a lot of things will be happening. This is not the first and the last debate, and you know, we have to discuss a lot, we have to think a lot, and we have to act, you know, upon this in a very concerted way. Brother Rustam, I'm so sorry, but the organizers, you know, they have given us the signal to close it off. So with that, I thank all the panelists very much for your time, for your expertise, for sharing your knowledge and experience, and also the audience for listening to us with patience and you know, engaging with the conversation. Thank you, and wish you all the best, inshallah.